Hello, listeners of the Art Versations podcast. Hello. Did you have a good week? I'm Bri, like the cheese, host of the Art Versations podcast. And this week I wanted to give a quick shout out to a podcast called The Spark File. It is hosted by Susan Blackwell and Laura Camion, two of the greatest people I've ever met. I took class with them this summer at the Performing Arts Project, and they explained to me that a Spark File is a place where you can put all of your ideas and inspirations. It could be like a journal or a document online, just so that they're all in one place and you can refer back to them. And so this podcast, they bring on so many Broadway greats. I could name all of them. Honestly, they're amazing. And they talk about art and different stories that they've been hearing recently. So definitely check that out. My guest this week was Sarah Gervais. She's an actor, a performer, a writer. She's at school with me as well. And our talk was really nice. We touched upon so many different topics. Some that might be triggering for some people, so please be advised about that. But I think you'll really enjoy it. Check it out.
It turns out that theater school works, and I learned how to write a play.
Turns out my degree wasn't a waste.
Right. Turns out the pedagogy actually has substance.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited.
Oh, good. Thank you for coming and sitting with me.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
It's good that we can actually, have some time together.
I know. I feel like I haven't seen you in so long. This is a perfect excuse.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So let's start off with, a little quick intro. Just, I want to know if there's anything you've seen recently. Any media, live shows, you read a book, maybe seen another podcast or whatever. Anything that's, inspired you.
Yes, very much so.
Cool.
So I started The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, 2 weeks ago. And I've just been hearing about it, forever. Sarah, you need to watch this show. I've just been hearing, you would really like it, you would really like it. And then I started watching it, and I found out that it's about a Jewish, potty mouth stand-up comedian.
With Rachel Brosnahan, right?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
She plays Midge, the main character. And it's probably one of the best shows I've ever seen, and anyone who knows me knows that I say that about a lot of shows that I watch, but this is it's so clever. The style of humor is it's so subtle. It's like Breaking Bad, but it is because they trust their audience to get the humor. It's not here's the joke. It's we're just gonna say things and we're funny, and if you're a smart person, you'll know that it's funny.
Okay. That's always nice.
I just love it. I relate to the main character because she's she swears a lot, and she is Jewish, and I my friend Claudia showed me the first episode, and I was I think this is what people of color feel when they see themselves represented, because it was Jew culture, all my things just in a protagonist. So it was nice. Yeah, I love that show.
You could totally relate to her.
Yeah, and it's really inspired me to start writing more stand-up and stuff, because I do that. Yeah,
I'm super into stand-up right now too.
I love it.
It's a really hard thing to gauge without an audience in front of you.
I know.
Do you find?
Yeah, the first time I ever did it was the show that we did in impromptu, and I lied and said that I had done it before because I really wanted to test it out, and I didn't
make it
right, and I didn't want to go to an open mic or anything. So when Hassan, our director, was does anyone do stand-up? I want to stand up, but I just was me, I do it.
Nice.
And he's okay, and then I was okay, well now I have to do it, and
I guess we're doing this. Yeah.
And I think it went really well. So I've been trying to keep the momentum. I've done a couple open mics since then.
No way.
Yeah, it sparked a love, because I love to talk. So I was I need an outlet to be loud and annoying, and this is it.
I want to come and listen.
Oh, I would love that.
On your next open mic.
Okay,
that'd be so cool.
I keep it my little secret. I don't tell anyone. The only person I let come is my roommate, and she's honest with me. She's either yeah, that was a good one, or your intonation, it needs work. But everyone, yeah. So I'm just gonna start to let people come in my life.
I get it that you want to keep working and warm up a little bit. So
yeah.
If you don't want me to come, I can.
No, you.
I'm just
please come.
I'm interested in it as well, and I think the more experience you have with it, the better you get, you know?
Like, you're interested in doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I bet you would be really good at it.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like you're secretly, like, very snarky and, like...
Trying.
No, you need to pull it out. Gotta pull it out.
I listen actually to a lot of comedian podcasts.
Which ones? Joe
Rogan, Chris D'Elia, a little bit of Bill Burr.
I love Bill Burr.
Yeah, so I enjoy the idea of, like, one person just spewing out
like
their
stream
thoughts,
of consciousness.
You know?
Yeah. I think that's my style too. I like listening to those because I do that. Like, I don't really have, like, I have like material, but then I just kind of riff off it depending on how I'm feeling that night. Right. And I think that, because if I had like a set script, I would just be like, here is the joke. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah.
But you want there to be like a little bit of room for improv,
right? Because I think I'm kind of funny naturally, so I think I'm okay at that. Some people need a script, but I'm just so good that I don't need one.
I think you're pretty funny. As soon as I don't even know the first time I met you. I feel like it was in CPS, one of our groups in CPS. I think
we were in a Creapod together.
That's right, yeah. Second year, maybe?
Yeah, oh my God.
Immediately I was like, I love her energy. She's so, like, you have a good way of letting people in on who you are, like, right away.
I've been told. I'm very open. And
it's great.
Thanks. I think that's not purposeful, but, like, I think it is useful because I think I'm secretly very shy and introverted. But
really?
Yeah. But I cover it up by being extroverted and, like, talking because I don't know. I think that only, like, a select few people channel their shyness by being the opposite of shy, but I think I would, like, much rather sit there and not say anything than, like, talk like I always do. But anyway, back to the Creapod thing. Yeah.
It's all good.
I remember you were doing, like, the, like, hell yeah that Jenna Marbles always does.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't even reference that it was from Jenna Marbles, but, like, the way you did it, I was like, that's Jenna Marbles.
Oh, that's so great that you picked up on that.
Yeah. So then I knew. I was like, she's one of us.
Oh, good.
She knows the tea.
Jenna is. I've been watching her since I was, like, a fetus.
Middle school.
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love her. That's so funny.
Oh, yeah.
No, I think, like you said, about people being secretly introverted is, like, definitely a performer's thing, maybe, because, like, when you're up on stage, you have to seem extroverted, but then you get off and all of a sudden you're like, no one talk to me, like, I want to be in my own space. Like, some people, I'm generalizing a bit, but, like, I don't know, like, the idea of opening up on stage is so high stakes and grand that, like, when you're off, you just want to, like, take time for yourself.
I totally.
Do you ever feel that?
I totally feel that. I think especially with my family, because, like, I think artists, like, most of my friends are artists because I go to art school, so they all kind of get it. And then when my parents or, like, non-art people come see me perform and I get off stage, they're like, oh my God, like, do one of your lines, like. It's like, sing part of the song. I'm like, no, like, fuck off. Like, that was where I did it. And now I'm, like, a normal person. Right. But, yeah, I think sometimes I'm like that. And then sometimes I think in, like, the theater realm, I'm like that, where I'm, like, very, like, okay, that was the art. Like, I'm done now. But then in real life, I, like, am very talkative and loud, but not about the thing I'm most passionate about, which is art. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I think I do find that a lot of performers are very, like, introverted. I think especially the ones who are the most flamboyant on stage. Yeah. Because that's where they get all that out, you know?
Yeah, it's different for everyone, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
How is your approach to acting and performance, like, a bit more different from other people's? Like, what kind of things do you do to prepare, or, like, your research style?
Sure. So I find that a lot of actors have a process. Like, I talk to different actors in my, like, class and people that aren't in my class, and they say, oh, well, this is what I do, and this is what I always do, and this is, like, I'll do my tactics, and then I'll drop in, and they'll just list, like, a bunch of techniques, and I find that it really changes, like, depending on the project. Like, right now my class is doing Hamlet, and the last show that I did was, like, very contemporary, and I didn't have to do a lot of, like, dropping in and sitting with the text, and I'm finding now I'm having to do that because the text is so, like, dense. I have to do a lot of meditation with
Cool.
the text, and I'm now learning to listen to myself. I never used to be able to, but now I'm finding it's really helpful to like record my lines and listen to myself and be like, this is where you sound untruthful. Like, this is where you sound truthful. Not to sort of prefab any sort of performance, but to like find out where my habits are in a character and like try to stamp them out before they become like actual habits, you know? But also I think I'm very intuitive. I think sometimes I just pick up a script and like do it, which sounds like terrible, but I'm a firm believer that there are some actors who are able to gauge something from a script simply by reading it once or twice, whereas some people need to like do research and delve into it to be able to get that same level or higher level. Like I don't really think it means you're better or worse. I just think it means you I don't know what it means. I don't know, but I just know that
It's just different.
It's just different.
For sure, yeah.
I listen to some people like who talk about how they're journaling as their character and they're writing poetry in character and they are walking down the street in character, and I don't buy into any of that. Like I think
That's okay.
Yeah, I think it's like whatever works for you. And then there are days where you can do all the work in the world, and you get into the rehearsal room and you are terrible and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, I'm the worst actor ever. So I don't even know if that answered your question.
No, for sure.
But I think the answer in short is like, I don't have a process. I just see what each thing needs for me at that time. You know?
I admire that. I think that's like it's a true skill to have, to be honest, as a performer.
Thanks. That's really nice. I take it as a negative thing, so that's nice of you to say.
You shouldn't. I mean, if anything, if it works for you, then it just works.
Yeah.
You know? And sometimes, for me, in my process, I get very over-analytical. And then the art suffers because it's just like a science experiment all the time.
Or the opposite, where you get super overwhelmed, and so then you're like, okay, well, whatever, I'll just like do it and it'll be fine. And then it's very general and like not anything with substance, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I have to do it.
There, but yeah.
Oh, I have. Oh God,
Yeah.
I have. But I think I'm getting over that now.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're still so young and figuring things out anyways. You'll have to forgive me of my lack of knowledge. What is dropping in?
Oh, I probably should have, but like nobody knows what that is except for a very few number of people.
I'm curious.
So it's a technique we learned from Ian Watson, our Shakespeare teacher in second year, who has passed now, but he taught us this technique that I know I'll take with me forever in classical work, which is it's tedious, but basically you lie on the floor, or you like sit semi-prone on the floor or whatever, and if you're alone, you'll like record the words and then just play them back. But it's better if someone's with you with your script, and they read you one word of each, like every word of your lines.
Whoa.
To you, like one at a time, and then you have to like take the word in and then repeat it back.
Wow.
Like however many times you need for it to be in your body. And I know that sounds like fucking nuts.
That sounds like torture. To be honest.
It's actually really calming.
Okay, that's good.
Some people think it's torture. Like some people really do. And I buy that. Like I buy how people are like, and I'm surprised I don't find it torturous because I have ADHD, so I'm just like everything all the time. But like I think it's like the one time where I just like let my mind go blank, because I don't actually meditate. This is what I mean by meditating, because I don't know how I feel about all that, but like this I buy.
It like works for you.
Yeah, for some reason the words are so much easier to say. They sound so much more truthful once I've done it. So it can take you do it in shifts, obviously, depending on how big your part is, whatever. So it can take you, days.
Like with the script like Hamlet?
Right.
How does that work?
Like Hamlet. Well, I haven't actually done anything.
You haven't started, okay.
I'm playing Polonius,
nice.
which is a male role, but now it's a woman, so I'm playing it as Polonia.
Okay.
Which I didn't know why he did that, but then, like, Peter, our director, but it was... Apparently, Polonius is actually, like, a male Latin verb, and Polonia is the female. So it's not... He didn't just, like, make the name sound more feminine. It, like, actually had a purpose.
Gotcha.
But she's got some hefty monologues. I wasn't expecting to get this role. So I'm not sad about it. It's a huge part.
And when does the show when is it on?
It's, oh God, I want to say the beginning/middle of February.
Okay. Next semester, you have some time still?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're still in the early stages?
We haven't even started rehearsing yet.
Okay, cool.
We're meant to get off book over the break and then rehearse.
Oh, yeah. They're expecting that.
Oh, yeah. We had a design meeting with Peter, and he goes, so I obviously can't force any of you to start rehearsing before January 11th, but we have 3.5 weeks to do Hamlet. So I would suggest, so if anyone comes on the first day with their script, like reading their script, like he's not going to be happy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because, Hamlet is 4 hours long.
Big job, though.
So, I'll be dropping in. I'll break.
Okay.
If you want me, I'll be dropping in.
Maybe I'll drop by.
Oh, God. You can help me. You can read my words.
Sure, yeah. See how torturous it actually feels on my body.
Yeah, I love it, but some people hate it.
Yeah. Dropping in. Okay, I'm going to remember that. Maybe I'll try that with some of the dance moves that I'm doing next semester. And, like, do every dance move. You know what I mean? Like, every second of one phrase, maybe.
One dance move until it feels...
Wow.
Or even just do, like, lying there, visualizing the dance move, each move.
That's probably better. I'm going to go insane, I think.
Oh, my God. I don't know how I haven't, but for some reason, I just love it.
Oh, that's good. And Ian, who has passed, obviously, like, left a big impact on you.
Yeah, he did. I dedicated the last show that I directed to Ian. He was actually the first director to cast me outside of, like, my type that I can remember because in high school I had a lot of experience not getting the roles that I wanted, and I just always played, like, mom, grandma, funny lady. Like, like, those are the roles that I like. So I didn't mind playing them, but I never played, like the Juliets or like the Eponines of the world. And then when I came here. In second year, Ian cast me as the Princess of France, which was the ingenue role of the play.
Cool.
And I, like, full disclosure, was, like, 120 pounds bigger than I am now, and right now I weigh, like, 170. I'm, like, pretty open about it, but I stuck out like a sore thumb in the class, and, like, I was not expecting it at all. And Ian cast me in this role, and then he calls me in for this meeting, like, the day after. He's like, I want to meet with you. And so I went in, and I was really nervous, and he goes, I just want you to know that I did not cast you in this role, like, because of the way you look, because of anything. I cast you in this role because you have a lot of power, and that's what the role, like, needs. And I don't want you to come in here with any preconceived notions. And I was just like, what? I didn't know that directors could be nice, because I just grew up with such shitty directors in high school who were really mean to me. So yeah, I think he did have a big impact on me because he made me feel like I wasn't one thing on stage, you know?
I mean, I've noticed you have lost weight, and I think it, like, has made you different, but it's glad that he can sort of look at your appearance as just something that is not, like, gonna cast someone. It's just who you are.
And it's such a sensitive topic, like, because I've done this in theater school. Like, I started my, like, weight loss thing, and so it's been such a wild ride. And
I imagine very emotional too.
It's very emotional.
Yes.
But what I've noticed is that, like, I don't know what Ian would be like now, but Ian, I just feel like he wouldn't have treated me any differently because of how well he treated me, like, originally. And I find every other faculty member, with, like, a few exceptions, treated me differently because of the way I looked, and now treat me a whole different way.
Really?
Yes. It's been really...
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know how I feel about it either. Also, just people in general. So it's been it's been like a wild journey for me as an artist, not just as a person, because it's a big thing to do as a person to like lose 120 pounds.
Absolutely.
But like,
congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
If you want it to be a milestone of celebration.
I do.
Good.
I'm proud of it. People like get awkward when I talk about it, but I have to talk about it because fuck you, everyone treats me differently. Like I'm gonna bring it up all the time because I'm just like dealing with it all the time.
Well, of course.
You know?
It's your body,
you know?
and you're every day you must wake up. I mean, I've definitely had body issues of my own, and it's something that we all live with on our own terms. And I think when there's a physical, noticeable change in someone, obviously, as an outsider, you're going to be like, oh, you've changed.
Right.
But I guess it's up to the person to decide if that makes them a different person or if they're still the same and they just look different. Do you know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean. And that's something I've really been like reconciling with, because so many people in my life are like, you are so, like, I got in a big fight with a girlfriend of mine like a couple weeks ago because she was like trying to tell me that I was like a completely different person, like personality wise.
Wow.
And looks wise. And like, it's true. Like, it's not a lie. I feel as though I have changed like in both senses, but I think in a good way on both accounts. So when people say, like, she was trying to say that like not to let it affect my personality or not to let it like make me different, and I'm like, how can it? Like, how I'm changing because everyone else is changing because the world hates fat people. And, like, obviously that's come, like, with its own... like, this could be... It's, like, a series.
A whole podcast,
because obviously when you get that big, you have to have some sort of disordered eating pattern. And people will disagree with me. But, like, from my personal experience, you don't get to that level without having an eating disorder. And then when I lost all the weight, like, 75% of the way in, I started doing the opposite thing where I just like was like really strict and like restricting. So I think
that can be bad too.
That's really that And I think like it's a whole thing, and I'm totally down to like keep talking about it. But this is like, I feel like this is not what this is for. But it just has so much to do with like,
good, don't worry.
It just has so much to do with like my art. Like all I want to do now is write plays about like girls who used to be fat and their experiences, which I guess is like the whole thing, right? Like write what you know.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say that.
But
if that's your experience and what you've been through, maybe putting it out on a page will help as well.
Yeah.
I literally had a conversation about this with my counselor yesterday about how like eating and how the world sees the typical ideal body, and it's all such a mess right now.
It's such a mess.
I think.
It's such a fucking mess.
And modeling agencies and who they cast, and then how there's like a separate section in a store for like plus size people. Yeah. That to me is very messed up. I don't know if we're getting on the right page of what we want to do.
I don't know
about accepting people, you know?
I don't know either, man.
Yeah.
Because I think it goes into every other political topic, which is just so polarized. So you have people that are on one side of the spectrum who say, you know, you have to be between this weight, like who are very militant about it. And I think when it translates into art, it's like such a negative thing.
Absolutely.
Because I had directors growing up who, like I said before, I never got the roles I wanted because of that, because of the way I looked, and they made sure to tell me that. I remember I did a production of Footloose.
They told you?
Oh yeah, I did a production of Footloose. I was 16 or 15, and the director comes up to me and he pulls me aside, and I'll like never forget this. He goes, so I don't mind that Rusty. He doesn't call me Sarah. He calls me Rusty. That's the name of my character. He goes, I don't mind that Rusty's heavy. He used the word heavy, but for the shows, do you mind wearing Spanx? Like,
are you kidding?
No, verbatim. And that's not even the worst.
And
thing.
You said you were 15 or 16?
15 or 16, but it started really early. I was like 13 or something when I started in this program, and I never knew. I think I always a little bit knew, but I never knew the extent of like the wrongness until I came to theater school and was like,
how could you know, right? Like
right.
You're just trying to do your good job as a student.
I know.
You're like, oh, okay, I'll play this role of Rusty, and then all of a sudden he's like, so change the way you look.
Right.
You're not right for this role, even though I cast you in it.
Yeah, and it was just so hard every year getting, because it was It was out of this, I won't say his name, but I'll name drop the place because he doesn't work there anymore. It was this theater called Theater Aquarius in Hamilton, which is like this pretty like big regional theater in Hamilton. And that's actually how I got started in theater. I did like this camp there when I was 8.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, and what I didn't know was that they were like scouting kids to be in their main stage shows.
Wow. At 8 years old.
At 8. It was wild. So they like pulled me and like these 2 other girls out of this like, you know, sea of camp kids and were like, so is this a thing that you like? And I was like, I guess I'm 8.
Sure.
Yeah. And then they set me up with this audition in Theater Aquarius because it was normally like for ACTRA and all that, but I was non-union and they had me audition and I got it and I ran for 2 months, like 8 shows a week, and I was 9. I think I turned 9 in one of the rehearsals, like on one of the rehearsal days. But anyway, I always did plays there, and this director from the time I was 13 to 17 just like would not stop talking about my weight, and it, like, and so I almost like thank him for that because it gave me like a backbone from hell. Because I genuinely don't think I would have survived the first year of theater school without that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of a double-edged sword because I hate that I had that experience. But But I'm glad.
Good for you for looking back at it as a positive.
Yeah, thanks.
And for growing out of it also, like knowing that some people's opinions maybe should be left to themselves,
right,
I guess.
Right. And it's nice now to see more people that look like me, like on stage and on screen.
Yes.
But I have to check my own like bias sometimes because I find even that when I'm watching something and I see someone who's like overweight or like not what I've seen my whole life on stage, something inside me goes like, something's wrong. Something's wrong here. Not that it's bad, but like...
Because it's not familiar or something? Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh my God, like this is literally like societal
norms
thing, shit at work.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yes.
But I think we're moving in a good direction. I hope. But you're a dancer, so I'm sure you've like dealt with this your whole life.
A body definitely has been a big thing. I'm just in my world and my journey. Just because as a part-time athlete, I guess, you know, because we do artistic stuff, but then we also
dance is a sport.
Like the sport, right?
It's a sport.
And I think like depending on like if you do ballet all the time or if you do hip hop all the time or like the different styles you train in make your body look a certain way, right? But then there are also some people that take that into their own hands, like with anorexia, and that's a big deal. I know a lot of friends growing up dealt with that, and I never tried to get to that point, that low point. But you know, like every time I look at food, like I have a weird relationship with it, just because of all of the conditioning that's been going on in my head about what I should eat and how I should look. It's hard, I think, because you want to be a certain way for your audience, but you also have to be a certain way for yourself.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I hope that with this new weight loss that you've chosen it for yourself and not because you feel like you need to be a certain thing.
I honestly think both.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's possible, at least right now for me, for there to not be a part of me that is like, I'm so glad that everyone thinks I'm hot now. You know? Like
I see what you mean.
Which is so, I think it's okay. I think that's okay. And I think it's good that I'm admitting that. But I think I definitely need to check that because it does like wreck me, like
your psyche and your
and
I hope not.
Yeah, and I talk about my weight loss a lot, but I don't talk about the fact that I like have an eating disorder a lot, and like I do, like I've always had one, whether or not it's like binge eating and now with like anorexia, and that's like I've very recently been saying that out loud. But I think that it's good because I think that it just means that like it's not as heavy anymore because it felt like a big secret, but. The
vocalization is helpful.
Yeah, and I think I had a wake-up call last year because I had to have emergency gallbladder surgery.
Did you really?
Yeah.
When? What?
Yeah, it was at the end of first semester, it was 3 days after my birthday. I'm born on the 14th of November. And on the 17th of November, I decided to order Pizza Hut after rehearsal.
Okay.
At like 10:30. And I hadn't eaten anything that whole day. And then I ate the Pizza Hut, like just like 1 or 2 pieces of pizza and like breadsticks. Then I like put the pizza away, start watching TV, whatever. It's like 11:30. I start getting like the worst pain I've ever felt in like my chest and like stomach, like right side of my stomach. I'm like, I get period pain, so I thought it was like maybe like rib pain for my period. Like I didn't know. And then it was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And I don't like to make a scene when it comes to shit like this. So I was like, it's fine. Like I just took a leave and it was getting worse and worse. So I decided to call my parents instead of the hospital. And they were like, call the hospital. I called the hospital. Went there, waited 13 hours. They were like, your gallbladder is exploding. We need to take it out of you. So that was because of
just 2 pieces of pizza,
right?
Like, nothing out of the ordinary. Like,
no. But it was from like my doctor explained to me like after like months of like restricting and then eating like a really unhealthy food and then restricting and then eating like one unhealthy food. Like it was fucking with me. And so that was a wake up call. And so that has kind of encouraged me to like slowly open up about it because I think it's a really taboo subject. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about weight, and like weight has so much to do with art. It affects everything that an artist does,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
So I feel like we need to talk about it more because I feel like it's affecting so many people. People in my class have also opened up to me about their like struggles with eating, and it's so much more common than people want to admit. I think people know that it's common, but they don't want to talk about it.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I just ramble, and
that's okay.
But I just anytime I get a chance to, I talk about it.
Yeah, I think like you're right. There should be more discussion, and I'm glad that we can do that now today. Let's switch gears a little bit.
Yes,
maybe onto a more
lighthearted subject.
Yeah. Sure. New voices.
New voices.
You are submitting. So it's a big festival that the fourth year actors put on in April?
March. The end of March. Yeah, it's the New Voices Festival. I remember in first year I like thought it was so daunting.
Oh yeah?
Because I would just see the fourth years posting like, here's a play I wrote, like, come see it. This play, and like the thought of writing a play was so abstract to me. Like I was like, how does that work?
Did you not have a lot of that growing up?
No, I never did any.
Interesting.
I grew up very music theater. So I grew up like time steps and freaking like...
And like always in the cast, not
right.
on like the creative team?
Oh, always in the cast. I've never done crew on anything, which is a terrible thing. But I haven't just because I think I get too jealous. Yeah, now's the time for sure. Mm-hmm. But I wrote this play starting in third year because it turns out that theater school works, and I learned how to write a play.
Turns out my degree wasn't a waste.
Right. Turns out the pedagogy actually has substance. And I learned from my wonderful teachers, Sheldon Rosen and Ruth and Clara and all these writing people. And I wrote this crazy play in third year that Sheldon was like, keep going with this. Because I had a lot of ideas and I would just bring in various scenes and stuff. Because that's what the actors do. They have writing classes throughout their 4 years. Nice. So you definitely have time to like prepare something and grow yourself as a writer. So that's where I like really developed my like love of playwriting, and I started writing this play. Sheldon really encouraged me to keep going with it, and I finished it at the end of last year, and I've just been editing now, and I submitted it last week, but Clara has already told me that it's in, so it's so
exciting.
Yeah, I'm really nervous. The subject matter is definitely some new territory for me.
Okay.
I've never done anything like this before. But I've always like really wanted to. Mm-hmm. So I think this is the perfect opportunity because New Voices is like the time to experiment, the time it's like a workshop. Mm-hmm. So it'll be exciting, and I'm really excited about the cast and the director and Steve Wilshire. Do you know who that is?
don't think so.
He's a very loud British fight director who works for the school.
Oh, I've heard some things about him.
I think he's wonderful.
Cool.
I personally think he's wonderful, and he...
Not negative or anything, but I've heard some things.
He's certainly a character. Mm-hmm. And I emailed him asking if he would do the fights for my play because there's some violence.
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. So that, for some reason, that made me so excited. The fact that, like, this professional fight director said he would do the fights.
Mm-hmm. Having that guidance and outside eye.
Yeah. So I'm nervous. We have to start rehearsing soon in a couple weeks. And I'm really excited and nervous, and it'll be weird to be doing a play that I wrote and not directing it.
I know what those nerves and those like anticipation energy is like. I have that all the time when I have my own projects too.
Right, like when you choreograph.
And I think it just means that you are like really in tune and excited to do something.
Right.
That like nervous and excitement kind of are the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like
yes.
They feel like it's the same side of the coin because like you're just shaking with anticipation that you want to just get it done.
And I think it
mean?
means we care a lot.
Yes, exactly.
I find that I get more nervous, exponentially more nervous when I sing in public than when I act.
Oh, yeah?
Because I care more about people thinking I'm a good singer.
Okay.
Because I know that I'm a really good singer, whereas like acting, depending on the day, I'm like, I can't do anything. Like, but singing, I'm like, this, I have this.
Yeah.
So I care, and I just like get so nervous. So I do get that a lot. I feel like I relate to that.
Do you find that it blocks you from being free to create?
Totally.
Can you talk more about that? How do you get out of those ruts?
I smoke weed. I smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah.
I went off my anti-anxiety meds in like first year, and then was like, because I just found they were making me like uncreative on their own. They were like deadening me, and then I was like, well, I'm still anxious. Well, I'm anxious now. So how do I fix that?
Right.
And then my friends introduced me to marijuana, and then I went through my like stoner phase, and now I'm like just one of those people that smoke weed for anxiety. You know?
No, it helps.
Oh,
I feel
immensely.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it helps to open up like your third eye and your like creative visions and stuff.
I only ever write high.
Okay.
which is a thing. I edit sober sometimes, but I think my best ideas come from me being high because I'm not thinking about what everyone else is going to think. And I think that that's why my play is crazy.
Cool.
But I'm glad that it's crazy. It's just going to be a lot.
What do you think of like the history of musicians that use, hallucinogenic drugs to create? I mean, it's sometimes the best art comes from like a place that you've never been before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the subject matter of my play is the base of it is like based in truth, but the story itself is fiction, and it comes from just like me being totally free to have an imagination and to not feel constricted by what everyone else is thinking. Because as much as I love the writing classes that we take, on the flip side, I think it definitely does sometimes stifle creativity. Like it stops the flow because you read your shit in class and then people are like, I don't like this. And like what I'm finding is you literally can't please everyone.
Yes.
Which is freaking me the fuck out. It's freaking me the fuck out, man.
It's a big thing I wrestle with too. Yeah.
Because my one teacher gave me this note about how there are these two characters in the play who have sex, and one of them gave me a note about, I don't get their relationship yet. Like, I don't believe how close they are.
Okay.
Can you fix that? I was like, yeah, cool. And then the next teacher that I wanted advice from, she was like, I hadn't changed anything yet. She said, I love these two characters. I find them so endearing. Like, I love this relationship. And I was like, well, which is it? Which is it? Is it this one or that one? And I'm realizing it's like neither. It's just
everything and nothing at all.
It's everything and it's nothing, and I have to trust myself, which is like so much easier said than done.
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah. Come see it.
I will definitely be there.
Cool.
That's exciting that you already know that like it's for sure happening.
Yeah.
How many people, does everyone submit something in your class?
Hypothetically everyone could. Yeah. I don't think everyone is.
Okay.
I think there are about 12 or 13 scripts that have been submitted.
How many get chosen?
I think all of them in theory.
Oh, good.
Yeah, which is good. Yeah,
That's
yeah. It's good.
It's a bit different for our shows.
Right, because your class size is so much bigger.
It's a lot bigger, yeah.
Like, less performance opportunity in that way.
The show is already so long, too, just because even though they scale it back, when we audition pieces, like, they scale it back about, like, 75% of the pieces that get auditioned. We still have to do, like, alternate nights. It's a different show.
And I noticed dances... You know, there was some people were in 3,
yep.
Some people were in 2 seconds of 1.
Yeah.
You were so great in that, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I loved your bit with the
spotlights.
It was so good.
Thanks.
You're so good, Brianna.
Lisa Pyers. Love her very much.
Love.
Yeah.
It was so great.
Thank you. That's really sweet of you to say. Thanks for coming.
Oh my God, no worries.
It's such a big, long process, so I'm glad that people actually get to come and see.
I went the day that there was a fire drill.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
It really added stakes and depth.
Yes, it did.
It added some nuance that it wasn't there before.
It was a great way to finish the run of shows.
I'm really glad I went to Greece this summer with like a bunch of dancers, because I think I have like totally developed like a new appreciation for dance.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and I always have loved it.
Yeah, musical theater, definitely growing up in that.
But I'm one of those people who couldn't sit for 2 hours and watch dance. Like, I just couldn't.
It's okay. I get that.
As people can say, I can't fucking sit there for 3 hours and watch, like, Shakespeare. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, so, yeah.
But now I can, ? Like, I think I can.
Yeah.
Because I learned so much about, like, what dance actually is.
Yeah.
You know?
It's very... I wrestle with that too, because I want people to understand it. I'd love for an audience to be like, oh, I knew what you were doing up there.
Yeah.
Right? But there's no text, so there's no way to, like, concretely communicate what you want to say. It's very abstract. But I'm glad that you've, like, had some more experience with it and can obviously, like, now formulate your own opinion on it too.
Right.
Yeah.
Then that's been fun to be like,
Good.
I liked this, I didn't like this, even though I'm like, what the fuck do I know? But,
Oh, that's okay.
But yeah, no, it was so good. I love dances.
Aw.
Yeah.
One line, like, final question. What is, like, your favorite song right now?
Oh God, my favorite.
I know, it's
song.
hard to pick.
Oh no, I have a perfect answer. Okay.
Yeah?
So I'm just gonna use this opportunity to plug Harry Styles.
Are you kidding me?
If any of you know him from One Direction, he is the Justin Timberlake. He will be better than Justin Timberlake.
Sarah, I'm so happy you're saying this.
So the song Adore You
Yes!
brings me so much joy that I don't know what to do. Me and my roommate have GA tickets for his concert in July.
I want to go so bad.
So I am going
I want to come with you.
in general admission, so like the pit.
Yes, yeah.
My roommate and I met in like grade 6. We've always been friends, and we have always gone to concerts together and waited all day like to be in the front. So like we're gonna do that.
Oh my God.
We're gonna get there at like 8 a.m. with our coffee and like our meals for the day. We're very experienced now. I love
how to work
so
it.
Adore You by Harry Styles.
Have you seen the music video?
Yes.
I just recently watched it too, and I'm so happy you brought that up. I love him so much.
I feel like Harry Styles would do really well in a theater school environment.
Oh my God.
Because he's like a bisexual boy who's
great.
in touch with his femininity.
Absolutely.
And like, but would also like, fuck you. Mm-hmm. Like,
Yep.
oh, I don't know. I love Harry Styles.
Yes, me too.
Oh my God, I remember when Zayn left One Direction in grade 10 on March 25th.
You know the date.
My friend and I, my roommate and I went home from school. Like, we were like, Mom,
can't do this.
We're going home. We need time to process this loss.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, but it was like a huge deal for Directioners. I'm like a late bloomer Directioner. Right. As soon as they broke up, I was like, oh, what's this? I should get to know them.
I've been a long-time fan. A long-time fan. And I hope the best for Louis. Louis doesn't seem to be doing so well in his career.
As a solo, yeah.
I wish the best.
You know what I think they should do?
What?
This is just such a shot in the dark, but I think they should still do solo shows, but then just do travel together. They can sing their solo songs and then do a few group songs during the concert.
I'm sure they'll get back together, because they said that they were going on hiatus.
Yeah.
Which I think was their like nice way of being like, we're breaking up and like we're gonna get together for like reunions. But I have not lost hope that they're gonna get back together for like at least one more album.
So good together.
Yes.
That's the thing. Like, it's just not enough for them to be alone. I think it would be such a cool concert to see like 5 or 4, whatever.
I know, same.
4 like solo artists who can drop in their like singles that they've done and then go back and play like Up All Night and like all those like real awesome jams.
Want to hear a really fun fact?
Yes.
So I used to work at this place called Tiara Wishes, which was a birthday party like place for
like an agency almost?
Right, like for princesses and like superheroes. But I wasn't one of those because I was fat, so I was like an assistant. No, I loved it.
So mad.
It's fine. It's fine.
You would have been a beautiful princess.
Oh, thank you. I haven't ruled that out as a career. I might still apply. But anyway, I worked at this place, and one room was like a princess room, and one room was a superhero room, and it had a red telephone booth in it.
Oh.
And just wait. And I was like, oh my God, like, and this was right around the time that like this was like One Thing era. Yeah. Like a year after or something.
So British.
Right. So British. And I said to my boss, we were cleaning the room, and like one of the first times I was in there, I was like, oh my God, that kind of looks like the telephone booth from like this One Direction video. Yeah. And she goes, from One Thing? Oh yeah, it is.
Wait, what?
I know. And I was like, wait.
The exact telephone booth?
What? And she goes, yeah, I like won it in like a radio contest, and like it's such a good thing that I own this fucking birthday party place, so I just put it in this room. And I'm like, Dana,
whoa.
Like, why don't you advertise this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I touched the telephone booth that Harry Styles climbed all over in the One Thing music video.
2011 you is like screaming.
2020 me is screaming, honestly.
Totally.
Oh my God.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, Sarah, thank you so much for sitting with me.
Thanks for having me. I hope I was okay at
Absolutely.
talking.
It's good to catch up, obviously, too.
Yeah, you too.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Art Versations podcast. If you like what you heard, subscribe, rate, and leave a review to help the podcast grow. As well, follow the podcast on Instagram at ArtVersationsPod. That's ArtVersationsPod. You'll find photos of each of my guests so you can match a voice to a face. Let's keep the conversation going. DM me with your own thoughts about art, as I would love to hear them. I'm always up for a good old-fashioned chat. Till next time.